Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the four-card fights for UFC Fight Night, Jan versus Dvalishvili. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the welterweight division, Carlston Harris versus Jared Gooden. And I see one right here is neither of these guys is the most technical on the feet, to be honest. I think Harris is a little bit more technical. I think he's a little bit sharper with shots. I think he packs a little bit more power in his shots because he does have a little bit better technique than Guido. I feel like Guido has the power naturally with him, good physique and all that stuff. And then when he does connect well, you do see the power. But I feel like a lot of times he's too stiff and his shots don't get enough torque on him, enough pop on him. It's kind of lacking technique in the power department. Also, Carlston Harris is the more wear-rounded threat. I feel like Guido's wrestling, grappling, more so, most notable defensively. Like he has solid wrestling defense or decent enough wrestling defense. But offensively, he don't really have no jiu-jitsu or no threats in that department. Or he's not no real aggressive wrestler. And then especially in this fight, even if he did do that, that would be putting himself in a worse position, like trying to grapple with a grappler, a guy who has notable grappling skills. So he really just limited to striking. And I feel like Harris is the more notable threat on the feet and on the ground, to be honest. So I just feel Harris will be able to connect on him, land the cleaner shots between the two guys. I don't think Guido's going to wear those shots well. Now I see Guido probably getting hurt, then probably reactionary shooting to a takedown, and is getting like his neck snapped up and choked out second round by Harris. So in this one, I got Carlston Harris via second round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, Tyson Nam versus Bruno Silva. And how I see this one right here between Nam versus Silva is, I'm going to go with Bruno Silva. Nam definitely has a good puncher's chance, good fighter's chance in this one right here. He definitely has a good chance in general in this one right here. But I can't bank, well, I didn't even pick him in the last fight. I picked against him last fight. He won that fight. But I can't trust him, Nam, to keep winning at this age in this stage in his career. He's never been the most consistent fighter to begin with. So I'm going to go, especially like I said, 40 years old or pushing 40, versus a guy that's like, roughly in his prime in Bruno Silva. I think Bruno Silva is going to be more active. I think he's a more rounded threat. Will he be able to have such great success as taking him down and wrestling him and grappling him? I don't think so. But I think he will be able to make it a dogfight, or at least, get Nam to respect the striking so that the grappling opens up, and that'll be an extra factor that Silva will have on his side, whereas Nam will just be looking more so to keep the standing and try to land clean counters to knock Silva out. But I just feel like Silva will do a good job to mix it up so that he could touch Nam with some power, but also keep the threat of a takedown there. And I think he will have some success, but I don't think this will be a case where he'll be able to get easy takedowns out there and just lay it on, because Nam has never really been that guy that just gets taken down and laid on easily. If anything, when you look at most of the losses, it had come to like, cleaner strikers that's going to be on their bike and like kind of landing clean shots to get out of dodge, striking, get out of dodge type fighters. So that's where the issue comes. Like Bruno Silva is not a striking, get out of dodge fighter, so he could definitely end up getting caught. And not to say that people that strike and get out of dodge, those people that stick and move can't get caught, but you are at a much less chance of getting caught when you're landing your shots and being defensively minded. So that's the issue there. But I feel like Bruno Silva is much younger, much closer to his prime, or much more so primed than Nam, and is the more well-rounded fighter. It's just that he can likely put himself in fire, which is a dangerous situation in here against Nam. So I just feel overall Bruno Silva will be the more well-rounded fighter, the younger fighter. He'll push the pace and he'll mix it up. And I think he gets his hand raised in a decision. So in this one, I had Bruno Silva via decision. Now on to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, JJAldrich versus ArielLipsky. And how I see this one right here between Aldrich versus Lipsky is I'm going JJAldrich to beat ArielLipsky here. I think Aldrich is the better, the better overall fighter is what I'm trying to say. She's the better overall fighter, but it's definitely angles for Lipsky to get in here and win a striking matchup. I feel like Aldrich is one of those people that kind of mostly beat maybe low-level wrestler, grappler type fighters, that she can stuff the takedowns to pick them apart on the feet for the most part. So that is the issue. I feel like Lipsky could definitely come on here and fight and strike. She can strike pretty well. She's not like, oh, she's just trash. She's a terrible fighter. I feel like her issue has been she's been easy to take down, has issues in the grappling department mostly. I mean, she did recently got knocked out or whatnot, but outside that, been mostly have issues getting taken down and controlled. I feel like Aldrich could do that to an extent, but that's never really been her full game plan. So that's why it's not as easy of a fight to maybe say, oh, let's just go Aldrich. I mean, kind of hard to go anywhere else but Aldrich, but it can't be like, oh, Aldrich, that's easy money. It can't be like that, because Aldrich, like I said, she's not that person that's going to take her down. She was like a Montana De La Rosa, who already beat, I think, Lipsky. Like I said, oh, that's easy money there. She's going to take her down and lay on her. She has the skills to do that, and that's what she does. And that's exactly easier, but Aldrich, like, when she mostly strikes, it may mixing a couple of takedowns here and there. It makes the fight a little tougher, but I've seen Aldrich in a similar fight, I guess, with a woman who has, I forget her name right now. I think it was Courtney Casey, I think, yeah, who has had questionable wrestling defense. You know, primarily a striker. She does have a bit of BJJ. Sometimes Courtney Casey does. But a very close fight there. I think some people feel she lost. Very close fight. But she did mix the takedown in there. And like I said, it was a close fight. Yeah, maybe a fighter who was more so a grappling focused fight would have made that easier. But Aldrich, like I said, will win, but it ain't going to be the easiest fight because that's not her full style, or that's not really her bread and butter. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty close fight. But I think Aldrich will mix in the takedowns. You know, keep the striking totals relatively close. Maybe Lipsky leading, maybe Aldrich leading, but Aldrich will be the one mixing it up, whereas Lipsky would just be striking. And I think Aldrich will get those takedowns, get that control time, and edge the fight in her favor. So in this one, I have JJAldrich via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Tony Gravely versus Victor Henry, and how I see him right here is going Tony Gravely with not a whole lot of confidence. Victor Henry really disappointed me his last outing, but I think he could bounce back, but I'm going Tony Gravely here. I feel like Gravely could do a good job of drawing Victor Henry to follow him, or drawing Victor Henry to, be aggressive and open up takedown opportunities. I think Gravely can take advantage of that and score takedowns. I think he could keep the strike total relatively close. And also, like I said, take advantage of the aggressiveness of Victor Henry, maybe follow a Sunstyle's blueprint to an extent. Obviously, a Sunstyle at its peak he could do that just about better than anyone, especially at this division. Like about just drawing people out, having that karate style almost, setting up takedowns off their aggression. Like that was literally prime a Sunstyle, and maybe he poured out a vintage performance in that one. But yeah, I feel like Gravely can somewhat replicate that, or at least make this a very close fight with Henry. But I do have concerns about Gravely getting tired in this one. I do have concerns about Henry's grappling and experience and such. So it's like a tough fight. Like I feel like a lot of people probably leaning Henry. I mean, a lot of people are leaning Henry here, but I feel Gravely can sneak it out, edge it out in a very close fight. Like I said, mixing in those takedowns. He got some power as well. So Henry really ain't the most clean, greatest fighter. He's this he's a journeyman for a reason. He's not gonna be no superstar. He's a journeyman. Both these guys are journeyman, but largely more so Henry. Henry has been, well, they had about the same amount of experience. So they both roughly the same amount of journeyman. Except Henry's a little bit older. But nonetheless, I just feel Gravely's gonna edge this out, getting Henry to follow, setting up takedowns, maybe walking him to counters. And Gravely has done a pretty decent job of doing that himself in his career. Obviously not to the level of prime or Sunstyle, but has done a good job of doing that to, some of his opponents he's beaten when he was on the streak not too long ago, about, setting up counters or setting little reads to draw out reactions from his opponents to set up explosive takedowns and set up lanes for him to get takedowns. So I think he can pull out a close decision over Henry. So in this one, I got Tony Gravely via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Cedric Dumas versus Josh Fremd. And how I see this one right here is largely a momentum pick leaning Cedric Dumas to beat Josh Fremd here. As far as Josh Fremd, as far as in the UFC against relevant competition, I have only seen toughness. Really, in his last fight, he just got destroyed by a guy who wasn't looking good on himself, got choked out, got manhandled in his last fight. Then his fight prior to that, he got manhandled for 3 rounds, 15 minutes. And really, he had some good moments, but for the most part, he was just getting dominated and just handled. So Cedric Dumas coming in undefeated, showing some decent submission skills, going there with a guy who got out-grappled in 2 fights. So I'm going to say, you got grappled in 2 fights, the team is going to continue getting out-grappled. And I feel like Dumas will probably keep the striking total relatively close, or, pressure him a lot, land some shots, probably start to initiate his own takedowns, create scramble situations, find the neck, and then probably choking him out within that first round over Josh Fremd. So in this one, I got Cedric Dumas via first round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Rafael Sunsao versus Davey Grant. And how I see this one right here is I'm going Davey Grant. Yeah, this is a tough matchup right here because I feel like a lot of times when you have these fights between, guys that's kind of up there in age, I think Assunção was like 40, I think Grant's like 37. The guy that's 37 or whatnot, or, well, I gotta say both of the guys old, but one guy like doing pretty well, and the other guy like, oh, he's old now, he's done. When they kind of see like, oh, you're only 3 years younger than me, like I feel like they get up for them for some reason. Like that's something got to be a stat to study, because I feel like, oh, this guy's not too much younger than me. I remember this guy being like not even on my level most of his career, and now he's gonna come in here and beat me, or this girl gonna think she'll come and beat me as I'm exiting the door. Like now I'm still gonna beat you. Maybe you were like this 30-year-old flat, or like 32, 33-year-old, or this 25-year-old, I'll lay down, but you like 37, you're only 3 years younger than me. They get up for them and they show vintage performances. But yeah, that's a concern, but I'm going Davey Grant regardless. I feel like he has been looking fresher against the younger competition. He looked well, even though he destroyed Marlon Vera in the past. For him again, it still was a very close fight. Even had him hurt, had to come from behind almost. Knocked Jonathan Martinez out. So he's been gave Adrian Yanez a pretty close fight as well. So he's been out there giving people hard fights. And I feel like his grappling has improved a lot. I feel like early in his career, or early in his UFC career, that was an issue for him. But I feel like that has been improving. Like I said, he's been in bad positions. I mean, he hasn't quit, hasn't been tapped out, hasn't been this dominated, hasn't been tooled on the ground in a long time. So the guys are making improvements. And I feel like he's a fresher fighter. I think he's the guy that's been looking sharper as of late. Assunção did have this vintage performance, but going Davey Grant to get it done in the distance, I feel like Assunção never had the best chin. And I feel like this fight's going to be a dog fight. I mean, Assunção going to try to fight, make a clean fight. I mean, he always try to make a clean fight. He never been a guy that really go out. I feel like he has moments where he tries to be a little bit offensive, but it's never a case he just go out there. Well, he has had slug fights. Let me not even lie. He has had slug fights, but yeah, he'll fight a little bit more reserved here, but it's never like he's been the most defensively great guy. He kind of used footwork to limit stuff. And like he has always kept his hands up, moved his head well. He ain't even that guy. So I feel like Grant will be able to chew the legs up, do a good job of chewing the legs up. They good job from switching the chewing leg up to stepping in and switching the stance, landing clean shots on Assunção. And I think he'll find that chin consistently, eventually be able to touch with some power, put Assunção out, and I'm going to say like second round TKO for Davey Grant. So in this one, I got Davey Grant via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Lucas Brezeski versus Carl Williams. And high season right here is going Carl Williams. I just think he looked like the more well-rounded threat. Brezeski, like he showed in his last fight, showed good ability to get off the cage, put his opponent on the cage, show solid takedown defense. But I just think Carl Williams probably is a bit better wrestling than Brezeski has fought. I think he looked like the cleaner striker between the two. I think he like the cleaner overall fighter. But Brezeski is definitely a fighter that I think will bring out a fight out of you and won't be no easy work. He won't just lay down. I don't think he's the most technical or the most clean fighter, but he's a fighter that will, like I said, he'll make you fight. He might give up a takedown. Well, you might get in on a takedown, but you ain't gonna just because you got in on a takedown, you're gonna get it. He'll make you fight for that takedown. He'll make you fight to hold the takedown, at least through the early rounds or early portions of the fight. Maybe you can consistently take it down. He'll wear down. He won't have that same energy. He won't be as squirmy. But again, I just feel like Carl Williams will be the one threatening more with more things, whereas Brezeski's just kind of more so threatening with striking. Williams, I feel, can outstrike Brezeski. I feel like he can out-wrestle Brezeski, and I think he can out-fight Brezeski. So he can outstrike him, out-grapple him, and out-fight him in this one. And I think he'll have the more tools and implement more tools, and that will allow him to get his hand raised over Brezeski. So in this one, I got Carl Williams via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the first fight on the main card, in the light heavyweight division, Vitor Petrino versus Anton Turkalj. And high season right here is definitely not the easiest fight I feel to pick, but I'm going Turkalj here to beat Petrino. I feel like he'll present more tools. I feel like Petrino really just presents striking, and that can, like I say, that can be all you need sometimes, a lot of times. But I'm gonna lean to the more well-rounded guy. The guy's gonna attempt more things. I feel like Petrino's gonna look to try to stand and bang, or stand at the hands go. But yeah, he does got an angle to win this off striking. Turkalj, he has some decent power himself, but his striking been pretty sloppy, pretty amateurish for the most part from Turkalj. But again, he got power. He can scrap to an extent. That could potentially get him knocked out. But I do think he will mix in the takedowns. He does attempt a lot of takedowns. He isn't the greatest wrestler, grappler at all, but at this level, he can be effective. And so far, from what I've seen from Petrino, his wrestling, defense, grappling really ain't all there just yet. So he's kind of relying on this cracking Turkalj to put his lights out. And we haven't really seen Turkov just get knocked out. His chin has been pretty sturdy. Still pretty young. So both of these guys are pretty young, but I feel like, yeah, they're both pretty young. Both of their chins pretty there. Solid, ain't really been worn down over a career. And yeah, I feel like it's going to be a scrappy fight. But again, I'm leading the guy that's going to look to do more things. And he could attempt, 5, 6, 7 takedowns, like still young and still willing to get those takedowns or go for those takedowns like that. And I know a guy that's like 35 and got 2 or 3 takedowns in him, attempts in him. I feel like he'll be able to get takedown, get control time. And I think the big concern is getting Petrino out of the first round. I feel like he can do that and then kind of just wear him down over the course of the fight. I don't think he stops him, but I do think it's a case of like just a wear down effect over the course of the fight. And the takedowns become easier and threat of that knockout, gets less and less. And Turkov's able to get takedowns, drain time off the clock, maybe wear on him, maybe land some ground and pound, just put his weight on him and beat him to a decision. So in this one, I got Anton Turkov via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Mario Batista versus Guido Canetti. And how I see from right here is I'm going Mario Batista. This is definitely the most confident pick on the card for everyone. So yeah, Mario Batista versus Guido Canetti. He could beat him in any which way. And I'm going to say a first round submission. I feel like he's been using his BJJ a lot more. We have seen Guido Canetti get his back taken, rear naked choked at least once. Yeah, at least once. But yeah, I'm not going to get all into his stories right here. I just feel like Batista's going to fill him out maybe for like the first half of that round, pick him apart on his feet, maybe hurt him, then drag him to the mat, take his back, choke him out first round, RNC. So in this one, I got Mario Batista via first round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the bantamweight division, Saad Nurmagomedov versus Jonathan Martinez. And how I see from right here is I'm going Jonathan Martinez. Very surprising to a lot of people for whatever reason. But when I look at Saad Nurmagomedov, only 9% takedown accuracy, not really the greatest takedown artist out there, or the most active takedown fighter out there. And then he really kind of coming down. I know a lot of people leaning because, he's the more well-rounded guy. He can grapple, this and that. Like, he is a more well-rounded guy. But if you don't use it, like, what good is it? I feel like he's more so defensive grapple. Like, maybe he'll strike, then you go attempt a takedown, he'll snap on guillotine or some snap a darce on. Or maybe you're trying to wrestle him like he was getting wrestled heavy last fight and then he found the submission. But typically he's not the guy that's going to take you down, drain you out, choke you out, or he's not going to Khabib you. He's not going to Mighty Mouse you or something. He's not going to be that guy that's going to take you down and tap you out. Or he's not going to John Jones you like John Jones did Cyril Gane. Or John Jones when he was 23, 24 was submitting people. So he ain't that type of fighter. Or at least hasn't proven to be. It's more so defensive or reactionary submissions due to his opponents initiating grappling exchanges. So he don't really initiate many grappling exchanges. I don't think he got more than one takedown in a single fight in the UFC. So no more than one takedown success in any of his UFC fights. So it's most likely going to be a striking matchup. So if you're banking on Saad Nurmagomedov, you're kind of really relying, he's going to outstrike him, or maybe he's going to at least hurt him and then create a grappling situation, then tap him out. So it's like still reliant on striking. I feel like Jonathan Martinez has shown more cleaner, more consistent striking. I mean, Jonathan Martinez had pretty good solid kicks. I think he's the more composed striker. My issue with Martinez more so is defensively on the feet. He can have issues. And that presents opportunities. But I'm leaning Martinez here. I feel like he's going to chop Nurmagomedov down. I think he stops him. I think he's able to batter the legs and make Nurmagomedov have to switch stance and make him have to fight from uncomfortable positions, like not where he used to, and not be able to plan the way he wants to. But I think Martinez will do a good job to take away his legs, dig him to the body. Where I feel like Saad Nurmagomedov is going to be trying to do spinning kicks and, the more flashy stuff, whereas Martinez is going to do the more fundamental, basic stuff and this the proven path that has success at all levels, whereas Saad Nurmagomedov will really try and get by in this one a lot with his talent. Not to say that he don't have technique. I just feel like Martinez has a cleaner technique and is more composed and has had more success. And also on his side as well, his grappling has been proven a lot. Not to say he's going to out-grapple Nurmagomedov or even attempt it, but if Nurmagomedov wants to grapple him, I feel like Martinez will surprise him. So that's all I'm saying. And I feel, Martinez style strike him, fight primarily plan on the feet. Maybe when Nurmagomedov starts getting his legs chewed up, maybe he tries to mix in some grappling, but Martinez responding well, keeping his fight standing, and taking away his wills, digging to his body, and out-striking him to a decisions. So in this one, I have Jonathan Martinez via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, catchweight at 215. between Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. So I probably predicted this fight like 40 times. Probably really like 2 times, but definitely already predicted it before. Had a quick pick already, still out there. Had a full card prediction video with him supposed to be the headliner. But hey, it is what it is. Still leaning Nikita Krylov to beat Ryan Spann. Not gonna talk too much about this one because I've already predicted this over time. But yeah, it definitely gives me concern. The fight was already iffy, and now Krylov been sick and whatnot, and so what's going on? Can't really say what's the accuracy of fighters that have had issues like cause them to fall out of a fight, then get rescheduled, and how they have had like what their success rate is when they do get rescheduled. Do they lose every time? Is it like 20% accuracy of them winning, or 40%, or is it actually in favor? But I don't know. I ain't getting all into that. I'm just gonna stick to judging them based off what they have shown me and not this extra stuff. Like you get too caught up in the extra, like, oh, he had a bad weight cut, or he had this, had that. And most times they don't even be a fact. Like still do what they were going to do regardless. But yeah. Reason why I'm going to Nikita Krylov here, I just feel he has shown a pretty sturdy chin. He has had plenty of fights. Has shown a pretty sturdy chin. Has shown to be a very durable guy. He has shown to be a guy that can push a pace, beyond the first, second, third round. Well, beyond the first and second. Well, yeah, beyond that first and in a 3-round fight. I can't really say I haven't really seen him in many 5-round fights, but I've seen him be push a pace 3 rounds. I have not been able to see Ryan Spann push a pace in any type of setting. Like I feel like he ought to get you there out like in a spectacular fashion, or it's like a lackluster sloppy fight. And I feel like in a potentially lackluster sloppy fight, Krylov wins that like 99 times out of 100. I feel like if Spann wins, it's going to be like a quick knockout, or a quick drop and tap out, or a quick choke out or something. Other than that, I feel like Krylov wins this fight. So beyond the first round, I feel like it's Krylov fight. But hey, it's a fight at the end of the day. But I feel pretty confident to say if Spann don't get it out spectacularly in the first round, then Krylov wins. So I feel like Krylov has shown that durability. I think he'll be able to get him out of the first round. I think he'll be able to extend him, push his pace on him, drown him, and get like a 3rd round TKO over Ryan Spann. So in this one, I got Nikita Krylov via 3rd round TKO. Now on to our next fight, we have the battle of the Alexanders in the heavyweight division. We got Alexander Volkov versus Alexander Romanov. And how I see him right here is going Alexander Romanov. Not with great confidence, but I'll go Alexander Romanov. I still feel like Volkov has the greatest track record with wrestlers. Yes, he beat the guy who just beat this guy. I'm not saying they just fought the same guy so back to back. But not too long ago, Volkov fought Tybura. He beat him. Tybura, it was like a sloppy, labored heavyweight hug fest. Not a whole lot of takedowns scored or anything, but more so a clinch battle. And Tybura just freshly beat Romanov. So like the MMA math is on Volkov's side. So Volkov, at least couldn't deal with the guy who beat you for 3 rounds, I guess, in a close fight. And I beat him in a close fight, whatever the case may be. But as far as like guys that really come with a wrestling focus, like a true wrestling focus, to kind of have more of a traditional wrestling background, like Romanov and Tony Johnson and Curtis Blades. Well, let me say, Curtis Blades and Tony Johnson. Not to be confused with the Tony Johnson who just fought on Bellator, that 39-year-old white man, but like probably like a 39-year-old black man that's kind of short, fat and chunky, and he fights a heavyweight. But anyway, and is a wrestler. But yeah, when it comes to wrestlers, I feel like he hasn't had a great success. He has fought both wrestlers, 2 wrestlers, at least 2 of them. And even Roy Nelson was having success wrestling to an extent. And he got a gifted a stand-up, like the ref stood him up. And that could easily shift, that did shift the narrative to an extent and allowed him to win the fight. Maybe they didn't give him that stand-up. He probably would have lost the decision to Roy Nelson. But yeah, he does have the best success against actual wrestlers. I haven't really seen him beat an actual wrestler. Well, he beat a Sabo practitioner, but yeah, actual wrestler I have not seen him beat. And even when they're dead and rights tired in front of him, hasn't seen that initiative to put him away. Like Blaze was like legit tired for the 4th and 5th and still was able to get some sloppy labor takedowns on him. Tony Johnson's whole fight style is sloppy labor wrestling and was able to lay on him. Chicago was able to take him down and pound him out for rounds. So I don't feel like he is the most active off his back. Yeah, I don't think he's the most active off his back. So if he's not the most active off his back, will he really get Romanov tired? Romanov's a beast in that first round. But the issue is like he can get tired. He can wear down. He's not the guy that has like the wrestling and the wrestling cardio. He has the wrestling. He has the dynamic slam, dynamic takedowns. He can finish fights, but does he have the cardio? That's the issue. But if you go in there with a guy like Volkov, who, like I said, he has all that technique and talent and stuff. He's a accomplished fighter. He's an established fighter. But if he has a tendency to just be dead off his back a lot of times, that could be an issue. And like, if he comes in here lethargic or come in here not really game, I feel like there has been maybe a couple instances where he's like, really got up and like was active and really on his game. But I feel like a lot of times, matter of fact, more often than not, he'd be a dead fish on his back a lot of times. And I feel like if that's the case, and what I'm kind of banking on, Romanov is going to be able to get the takedowns and not spend too much energy taking him down. Maybe land some ground and pound, maybe not be as aggressive for the finish, but just try to go out there and get his hand raised, so don't tire himself out, get the takedown. If Volkov not going to be active with his back, just hold the position, land some ground and pound to keep position. Maybe try to, if it been some grappling, maybe try to look for some submissions, but very lightly just fill them out. If they're there, you get the submission. If not, just really just using it to establish position and showing that maybe the threat of it to keep Volkov from advancing. Like I said, use that high fight IQ, or he don't have high fight IQ, but a high fight IQ strategy of threatening with submissions to maintain positions or, prevent an opponent from making a transition somewhere because you have a threat of a submission if they do transition that way. But yeah. I'm largely going on historics with this one, and that's really where I'm going. So I feel like Romanov will get the takedown, and I feel like Volkov will be the most active of his back, and I feel like Romanov will be able to grind out not so pretty decision, but the fight he needs to fight to get his hand raised over Volkov. So in this one, I have Alexander Romanov via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our main event in the bantamweight division, Petr Yan versus Merab Dvalishvili. And I see this one right here. I'm going Merab Dvalishvili. I feel like Petr Yan is the more well-rounded fighter. He's the more threatening fighter. But it's definitely big concerns on Petr Yan's side. He's supposed to be this more threatening fighter, supposed to be more this, more that. But the guy does not have a single stoppage win over a fighter that's not like beyond their prime. Like his two finishes are Aldo. And Aldo, when he was still struggling to make bantamweight and come off a loss to Marlon Moraes. I'm not to say that he would not beat Aldo today or the Aldo that was streaking in the bantamweight division. And he would beat and stop the Aldo as well. But yeah, he literally beat a drained out Aldo, stopped him. And Uriah Faber that literally stepped in on short notice and was not even training to fight like that. He was in the USADA pool, but he was not training to fight nobody. He was training other fighters, but he was training himself. So those are his two stoppages are, I think that's, as far as relevant names, that's his two stoppages. He maybe for some, maybe guys more so toward the can tier he stopped. But as far as guys that's young and are at least at the top of the game right now, 0 stoppages. And I think he like 2-2 against him or 2-3 against him. So he like less than 500 against fighters that actually in there at the top of the game right now and then relevant. So yeah, like 2 lost to Aljo and actually like 2-2. He lost to Aljo twice. And then Sanhagen and he lost to O'Malley too, so that's 3. He lost to 3. Then he beat Sanhagen and he beat maybe Jimmy Rivera or something. Yeah, that's about it. Like you might think he got an extensive record, but his record really ain't all that extensive as far as relevant competition. But enough about his stories. I feel like Petr Yan does have tendencies to give up that first round. Like I said, I feel he could come on in the later rounds. He has that style where he kind of lets you, like that slow cook style where he lets you kind of get the first round or first 2 rounds off on him. And you fatigue and he comes on and puts you away late. Or no, he don't put you away because again, he don't put away young fighters. But he takes the later rounds, starts teeing off on you, picking you apart down the rest of the rounds. But Merab Dvalishvili has not shown any sign of getting slower, any sign of getting tired. He'll attempt 100 takedowns. And Yan does have that tendency to go to that high guard. I feel like Dvalishvili can exploit that, get takedowns, or at least get in deep and create grappling situations that will take Yan off his striking game. I think Yan will do well to defend takedowns, but that won't do well to stop them from initiating or stop Dvalishvili from initiating takedowns. And ultimately Merab Dvalishvili will take advantage of Petr Yan, give him the opportunity to get off early, and then we'll keep the pace going. I don't think he's going to slow down. He's going to start a pace. He's going to set a pace. I think Yan will be able to shift momentum at time, but I think Dvalishvili will be able to, regain that momentum and get back in his own groove and get takedowns or start attempting takedowns. Again, I feel like this guy's cardio is insane, and I feel he'll be able to wrestle for 5 rounds if needed and go for 100 takedowns if needed. But I think this will be a very scrappy fight, a very close fight. And yet another close, probably split decision in this one. And I think Dvalishvili get his hand raised. And I think he'll surprise people in the striking department to an extent. Probably be able to land some clean shots that will maybe hurt or catch Jan's attention, mixing the takedowns in there. But again, a very competitive fight. I think Jan will do well to adapt. But I think Dvalishvili will still be relentless with the takedown no matter how well he adapts. And will keep Jan on the defensive a lot, just on the wrestling, the grappling defensive. And really prevent Jan from really getting his groove going in this one. So in this one, I have Merab Dvalishvili via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Jan versus Dvalishvili. And as always, thanks for watching.